Hi, my name is Jacoby, or Kobe, and we'll be talking about the social behavior of dolphins today. We're first going to cover some other species, not just dolphins, to compare their social activities and habits with some other species. So, one of the most interesting aspects about dolphins and a few animals are they are monogamous, meaning they have the same mates for their whole lives. 95% of birds are monogamous, and as you can see here, many other mammals are also monogamous. So in the animal kingdom, this is very rare because animals mostly mate in order to survive. So this shows that they stay with the one partner for their life, that they are committed. So we see this with penguins, some kinds of monkeys, and then a worm. Well, I don't know if they actually do this on purpose, but it seems like when they mate, their bodies are just somehow biologically binded together. So this wasn't exactly monogamy by choice. However, many animals do this because in order to help their family, many have to be together, such as penguins. If they don't have both parents there, the egg will most likely not survive because they need to take turns watching the egg and while the other goes and hunts. Gorillas are an example of an animal that's almost the opposite of monogamous. They have what's called a harem of females, the strongest and most dominant male will have. And then sexual cannibalism also occurs in many insects such as mantises, black widows, or scorpions, who will consume the male after mating in order to help their offspring and provide nutrients. So for dolphins, reproduction is actually done for pleasure. Unlike most species where it is only a role in survival of their species, dolphins have been found to do it for pleasure, and they've even found that they do it with dolphins of the same gender as well as by themselves. And they have found that dolphins have an enhanced brain where they have dopamine pathways that release dopamine during sexual pleasure. They also found that the female body part for the dolphins were enhanced, especially the clitoris, very much like humans. And also that dolphins experience menopause and release prolactin and oxytocin. So that is a hormone related to love. So there are many activities dolphins do that is very similar to hormones and very similar to humans, that they are one of the few animals that do. Social groups among animals. So there are many benefits of having a social group for protection, for finding food, for being able to travel with a herd or migrate. And then there are some animals that live and hunt alone, such as leopards or bears, live solitary lives. Then we talked about the monogamous families. Then there are matriarchies, where an old female usually is the lead. So this happens in elephants and orcas, and also dolphins are a matriarchy family. However, they are a bit different, which we'll cover in a moment. Then there are harems, gorillas, sea lions. The dominant alpha male will be the leader. And then packs and prides among wolves and lions, where they stay together as a group, also led by the alpha male. And then there's eusociality, which is the most complex social group among animals. And surprisingly, it's in some of the smallest animals there are. It's in ants and bees, where they will have different social roles and jobs depending on the hierarchy of their colony. So, for example, ants will have worker ants, forager ants, nurse ants who will be in charge of raising the larvae or babies, and even soldier ants. So that's very interesting. And about dolphins. So dolphins are usually led by the oldest or most experienced female. So they live in a matriarchy. But theirs is different because they often will break apart when what is called now as a fission fusion society. It's a dynamic group that will often they'll stay together. However, sometimes one or two will split off together to explore, to go play. So their social group doesn't always stay as a herd. They often go off to explore or play or hunt, and there's no single leader. Leadership can change depending on the situation. Maybe the dolphins like a different dolphin, so dolphins are very social. They can even maintain long-term friendships with other dolphins, up to 15 or 20, even 20 years. They can maintain a relationship or friendship. And often, groups of 2 or 3 male dolphins will become friends for life, and they will hunt together, they will explore together, and they will help each other to find mates among the dolphins. Some other matriarchal animal families are here. There's hyenas, bonobos, elephants. Alright, so let's start into how dolphins communicate. Dolphins are able to communicate via whistling, and they've found that dolphins are able to recognize individual dolphins' specific whistles and pinpoint what dolphin made that sound. They also have found that dolphins can call each other different names. So this shows the ability for spatial cognitive memory. That means they're able to recall events and specific people or locations as well. So they not only communicate just to say, "What's up, Bob?" but they also will communicate when hunting in order to surround their prey, and they will surround the fish or prey and take turns going in and out while they whistle to communicate their coordination. And they have done studies on dolphins in captivity where they would play a recording of a dolphin that a dolphin was friends with compared to a stranger dolphin, and they've reacted completely differently in a friendly way to ignoring the unknown dolphin. And then dolphins are also extremely great at problem solving. They've been found to use a sea sponge around their nose when they're hunting along the ocean floor to protect their nose. And it's also been found that mothers will teach their offspring to do the same activities she has done by showing them this way. And they've found that with sponges, and dolphins have also helped fishers round up the fish to go into the nets. And the fishermen and dolphins can both benefit from that. So now on to their cognitive abilities. So as I said, dolphins are able to recall the sounds and locations. They will travel in the same areas. That shows they have spatial memory. They also have a very special sound input system, which is called the echoic visual cross-modal matching, where they're able to, by the sound, their inner ear, their cochlea, is able to resonate the fluid in the ear, which will create an image of their brain, giving them a location based on the sound frequency or amplitude. So whether the sound is coming from their left or right ear, and the volume will tell them where the sound is coming from and what is making the sound. So this is a cognitive ability that most other animals don't have. So dogs don't have that. They mainly operate by smell. Chimps mainly operate by sight. Dolphins, they have that special sound enhancer in their brain, which is able to make a 3D image, which is probably the most significant part of their cognitive ability, where they're able to convert sound into a 3D mental image in their brain. Alright, so there's a lot more about dolphins. However, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed or learned something.